What about the broader conversation now of, is it time for the refugees in the United Kingdom to return to Syria? I mean, there are some 17,000 in the United Kingdom. There are almost 1 million in Germany. German politicians there are saying that we should be incentivising, perhaps even paying them to go back to their own country.
Well, I think that we saw across Europe that there were wild celebrations which were taking place because Assad's regime had been overthrown. And I think that some people might argue that those Syrian refugees across Europe celebrating this outcome, they should use that positive spirit to return to their homeland and help with Syria's post-Assad reconstruction. So if there's an argument that was made by Syrian refugees that because of their Sunni Muslim background, that they were at risk of persecutory violence at the hands of the Assad regime, which was a totalitarian dynastical regime, which was guilty of all kinds of torture in Syria, we're not denying that, then there is that possibility that that risk no longer exists, because 5 decades of Assad's rule has come to an end in Syria. So I think that part of having a dynamic and responsive refugee policy is looking at regime change in those countries, how refugees in your own country respond to that, with the possibility of returning to their homeland if it's safer for them to be there.
And Rakib, we saw yesterday the Home Secretary, Yvette Cooper, momentarily paused the admission of any future refugees or asylum seekers into the UK, following the lead of Germany, of Austria, of France. And I think we can all agree that's the right thing to do. However, with the bedlam that's going to be ensuing in Syria, with no doubt the country hemorrhaging all kinds of jihadists, the new lot hardly sitting around singing Kumbaya. I mean, they could be as bad as the Taliban. We just don't know who these people are. Do you think we could see a situation where people with malintent towards the UK could be leaking out of the country and coming towards the French coast and perhaps next stop Dover?
Well, I think we've already seen many Syrians, in my view, illegally arrive in the UK via small boats across the English Channel. That's happened in high numbers. I think that what we have to really look at is, if we want to have a successful migration and refugee policy, which includes the mass return of Syrian refugees, then that may well mean cooperating with an organisation which is currently a proscribed terrorist organisation in the UK. So there's a great deal for the Labour government to think about in terms of the status of Hayat Tahrir al-Sham. Should it remain a proscribed terrorist group, or should that proscribed status, or should that be temporarily suspended in the hope that they may well have to cooperate with this organisation successfully in order to have a successful refugee returns policy?